Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast powered by CKREU. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Amber Brown of Gilman Partners. She highlights GP Elevate and the importance of leadership development. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CKREU, Google and Amazon advertising experts. Now let's go meet our members of the week, hear from our sponsors, and we will jump right in with Amber.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. CKREU gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, CKREU generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can CKREU do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Cruise Planners, Travel Now by Jenny, has been committed to providing world-class travel services since 1994. Dowd at Bar is Covington's spot for crafted cocktails, conversation, and connection. Liana Enterprises is a woman-owned technology and engineering firm that delivers secure IT, audiovisual, and mission-critical solutions to government customers across the nation. GoGo Meds provides fast and accurate access to affordable medications backed by a dedicated team of experts. The Kenton County Public Library helps people read, learn, and explore new ideas by offering books, programs, technology, and knowledgeable staff who support curiosity at every age.
Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Amber Brown of Gilman Partners. Amber, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I am excited to have you on. We've had Gilman Partners on in the past, but today we're going to talk more about GP Elevate. But before we get to that, give us an overview of what Gilman Partners does.
Absolutely. So Gilman Partners has been trusted by executive search clients for the last 45 years to bring in top talent with a focus on the top third of the organization chart. So not necessarily only the C-suite, but definitely the top third titles in that org chart. So leaders. And based on what we've learned about what CEOs want, what senior leaders want, what they need, in 2019, we decided to purchase a leadership development program that we rebranded as GP Elevate. We did some changes to the course content, but we really feel like we have a great handle on, again, what are those hiring needs when companies are thinking about next-gen leadership, succession planning, what it's going to take to help organizations be successful in the future. We have a great pulse on that. So it only made sense that we developed our own leadership development program.
Yeah, I love that. It kind of, the flow chart of leadership, you guys are kind of tapping into that. So tell us specifically GP Elevate. I know a lot of people that have gone through it, but tell us a little bit about how the program works.
Absolutely. So we focus on high potential senior leaders, and that is a distinguishing factor. There are a lot of amazing leadership development programs in our region, but we really focus on executive leadership development. I think the key differentiator for us is we're looking for high potential leaders who have been superstar individual contributors. They've led functional areas, they've led teams, but we know that the skills that it takes to get from sort of that middle management, right, functional leadership to really leading an organization globally is different. It looks different, it feels different. And so GP Elevate's focuses on helping superstar leaders turning to leaders who can think about an organization from a global perspective.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you said it's a little bit different than other programs.
Yes.
Are there other things about GP Elevate that you think kind of set them apart from other similar leadership development programs?
I think so. One of the things that we hear from and I'll talk about sort of some of the nuts and bolts of the program, but what we hear time and time again is it's peer-to-peer that makes the biggest difference for our leaders. We recruit no more than 12 to 14 leaders per cohort. These are companies that are not competitors, and we never allow more than one leader per company so that we can cultivate a safe space for leaders to bring in real world challenges.
Yeah.
What are they faced with? What are some of the biggest issues they're facing? What are some of the biggest questions that they may not feel comfortable asking at a leadership team meeting, right, back at their organizations? And so, one, it's peer-to-peer. There's that natural exchange of expertise. They have an opportunity to workshop the biggest challenges that they're facing together in that cohort. Next, I think it's a really nice blend of a focus on hard skills. So what are the technical, functional areas that all leaders need to understand? So how to communicate effectively, right? How to build a high-performing team, finance, strategic planning, right? Most of those, how do you develop a winning talent strategy? Coupled with what are the soft skills that leaders need today to thrive and to really build a high-performing team. So emotional intelligence, that's a big one for us too. But we focus, I'd say, equally on both of those, knowing that it takes both sides of that coin of hard and soft skills for leaders to be most effective.
Yeah, and when you guys are thinking about the most in-demand skills that people are asking for, people want to learn, what are those skills?
I'm going to say number one, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence, and thinking about all the leaders in our region that you've talked to, I'm sure what you're hearing at the chamber, gone are the days of command and control and having one person or a single leadership team who holds all of the knowledge in an organization. And so I'd say leaders need to be strategically agile. They need to be able to understand, even if you're not a finance expert, they need to understand how all of the cogs fit in an organization. They need to be able to help people lead and just manage through change, because we're seeing an overwhelming amount and speed of change. And emotional intelligence to be able to communicate effectively with people, to not have all of the answers, but to create space for your team and your leaders in your organization to help co-lead an organization. So I'd say communication, number one, agility, but definitely emotional intelligence, the ability to work effectively with other people.
Yeah. And I know, as someone who has been in a workplace where leaders were not necessarily as emotionally intelligent as some of the leaders that I work with now, it's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
When you're thinking strategically across your whole organization.
Absolutely. It impacts culture in ways that I think can't be fully measured. To have a leader who has a very people-oriented, right? People-oriented, team-focused orientation. And one of the things I always say is, what I've learned, and I've had 20 plus years in nonprofit. This is the first for-profit company that I've worked with. One of my passion areas is, I think companies do a great job marketing their work outside of an organization. It can be very clear, right? This is what we do. But in a lot of cases, in some of those organizations that have been more challenging for me, you lose the sense of the workforce is a part of the community we serve also. And so, thinking about the importance of emotional intelligence, it's making sure your workforce and understanding who are the stakeholders and treating everyone with value.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's very important. And one of the things I do want to ask, this is maybe a curveball.
Yeah.
I said I'd warn you if I was going to throw one. When you hear from the organizations after these people have graduated from GP Elevate, they go back to their companies. They do this great work after this training and leadership development program. What kind of feedback are you guys hearing from organizations?
Definitely, there have been a lot of times our sponsors, we call them, those are the leaders who are actually nominating people to come through the program, which is a differentiator too, I didn't mention. So this is not a self-select in program. These are companies who've identified their high potentials and they say, we're delegating you. You are the next up, or we see high potential in you. So that's an important differentiator that I didn't mention. But what we hear from sponsors and alum is, I think, confidence. And sometimes that can be an overused word or even pretty vague. But I think, when I think about what we've heard, sponsors can see maybe halfway through the program that their leaders in the program are thinking differently. They're speaking differently. They're leaning in more. But ultimately, it's confidence that I do belong in this seat. I am being prepared, right, for an executive level role. And that seems to happen. There are times when in the beginning of the program, we've heard from some who are like, I don't know what they see, right? And me, that's not common, but we, I say it kind of tongue in cheek, but there have been leaders who are like, I don't know why they put me in the program. But by the midpoint, because there's so much exposure, again, to the content areas, the strategic areas they need to focus on, I think it builds this, I could do this. I could do this well. So I think that's probably the number one thing that we see.
Well, very cool. It's great to hear. So companies that are interested in sponsoring their people, learning more, what's the best way to learn more? What's the process kind of like?
So I would say we call it an application process, but once we receive, it's a registration process. So we encourage leaders to go on our website, which is gilmanpartners.com/elevate to learn more. And we have specific program details, but also reach out to me. I'm always willing to do a virtual call. I do it quite often where I'll get on a Teams call and we can talk about what an organization's talent needs are, what their goals are for leadership. Do they want to do group workshop style development first, where we have a customized training that we bring in? Or do they have specific high potential leaders who they think are on the succession plan radar that they'd like to put through Elevate? So I'd say I would be the best point of contact, but certainly they can get on our website to learn more about the program.
Okay, well, that makes it really easy. Amber, for people that want to get in touch with you, is there an email? Is there a phone number that people should know?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm happy to give my email, which is abrown@gilmanpartners.com. But then also they can find me on LinkedIn, and it's LinkedIn/Amber CJ Brown.
Okay, well, that makes it really super easy. And Amber, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and you're not done yet. I'm not kicking you off just yet. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about, you said we fill out a form before you come on the podcast. You guys have a fun fact about National Recruiter Day. Please tell me about this, why you guys make such a big deal out of it.
I had to do some Google research this week to even find out sort of what's the origin. And it sounds like it's going back to 2017. But it is actually a calendar event now. But National Recruiter Day is celebrated every May. And it is probably our biggest, most exciting holiday as a firm every year. And it is an opportunity for us to thank and celebrate the hard work that our talent experts, our search consultants are doing in this market and beyond with companies who trust us. So it's a lot of fun. It's always themed. There are costumes involved.
Oh, I love that.
Lots of food.
So we will be keeping an eye out on the Gilman Partners social media pages in May for some very exciting stuff. I love that.
Yes.
And Amber, last thing before I let you go, is there anything else that you think our viewers, our listeners need to know about you, about Gilman Partners, about GP Elevate?
I'd say, we have now 150. We have just surpassed 150 alumni. We will be on our 18th cohort by the end of this year. And so we are always looking to partner with new businesses in our community to help develop their leadership bench and to strengthen the talent that they already have in their companies. So, always looking for new partners.
Okay, well, great. Well, Amber, thank you so much once again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Sarah. This was a lot of fun.
Oh,
thank you.
That's what I like to hear.
Thank you to our Investors Circle members. Our Investors Circle members help us promote and support the development of strong businesses and a vibrant economy in the Northern Kentucky region. Thank you to all of these members for their investment, which will help the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce in our mission to develop and grow a thriving business community. Northern Kentucky needs tailored solutions to address our housing shortage. Home for All, Northern Kentucky Housing Strategies, explores how we can retain young adults, help older residents downsize or age in place, and ensure new neighbors have housing options that fit their lives. Dive into the report at housingNKY.org. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Amber about GP Elevate. If you're interested in learning more and applying for the next cohort, visit GilmanPartners.com. Thank you once again to our podcast sponsor, CKREU, Google and Amazon advertising experts. Before I let you go, I want to plug a couple of upcoming Business Council events. On Tuesday, February 10th, the Erlanger Business Council will be hosting a business social at Silver Lake, the Family Place. On Thursday, February 19th, the Florence Business Council will be hosting a State of the County update with Judge Executive Gary Moore at Florence Baptist Church. On Tuesday, February 24th, the Newport Business Council will be hosting a business social at Jerry's Jug House. And on Thursday, February 26th, the Fort Thomas Business Council will also be hosting a business social at Padrino. You can learn more about all of these events and learn more about our business councils at nkychamber.com/events. Finally, if you're a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategy Spotlight, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen if you are a viewer, and our listeners can find that at nkychamber.com/staff. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.